Hey, you're watching Reelblack TV. I'm Robert X. Golphin. If you don't know his name, you definitely know his face. He starred as Kumar in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and he's in the new film The Rise of Taj. I'm talking about Kal Penn. You've got to be living the American dream right now. How did you break into the business?
It's a good question. I went to a public performing arts high school in New Jersey, which is rare. Most performing arts high schools, from what I understand, are private, and that's unfortunate. Definitely benefited from a great public school system, and then studied theater as one of my subjects in college, theater and film. And it was it was really hard. A lot of the other kids in my classes from freshman year were getting agents and going out on auditions, and it took me 4 years to get one agent who was willing to look at me. So it was a very slow, very steep climb, but I think a lot of it was right place, right time too. And my first real job was on the original Van Wilder movie, playing kind of a stereotypical sidekick character. And it's nice to be able to be doing the sequel where you get rid of the stereotypes, but you keep the more universal things that make people laugh.
That is the aroma of higher education. The aroma of young minds absorbing knowledge. The aroma of...
Oh, yes.
The aroma of that, too.
Taj goes to grad school, and the story picks up with him leaving for the UK. He gets there thinking he's going to join his father's secret society. His dad went to the same school. And a series of mishaps, he realizes that he didn't get in, and the only place he can live is as a resident advisor to a bunch of dysfunctional, really dorky, pasty British college freshmen. And he kind of takes them under their wing. The torch is passed from, Van Wilder to Taj, and then from Taj to these freshmen.
How did that come about?
They called me, actually. The producers of Van Wilder, the original, did a movie called Wedding Crashers that did really well recently. And they called me and said, how do you feel about doing a follow-up to Van Wilder? And I said, well, I don't really want to do how do you follow that up? And they said, well, we want it to be something that's only your character. I said, well, I don't want to do a lame knockoff sequel to a movie that did well. And Ryan Reynolds did such an amazing job as Van Wilder in the original that I didn't want to, how can you follow that up? They said, well, we want to spin it off, and we want the character to go to grad school. I thought that was a really interesting concept. So we sat down and met a bunch of times, talked about plot lines and stories and how the characters interact with each other. And it seemed like a really fun idea and a great opportunity to take a character that was kind of one-dimensional and make him a fuller person and have a lot of fun doing it.
In your opinion, do up-and-coming entertainers have to move to New York or LA in order to make it happen?
In my opinion, yes. I think that those two, especially if you want to do film or television, Los Angeles is, the capital of filmmaking, and there are more opportunities there. So if you want access to more opportunities, you have to move to where the jobs are.
Harold and Kumar, that's one of your most memorable roles.
Yes.
Take me through that experience, and is there any truth to a sequel?
There is truth to a sequel. We're going to be shooting that in Shreveport, Louisiana from the middle of January onwards. And that was a great experience. When I got the first time I got the script to the original, I didn't think that the movie was going to be financed, because it's a great script. It's a buddy comedy. Really outrageous things happen, and there's the stoner plot line about getting burgers. Then there's the story about the two buddies just hanging out. And then there's the subversive social commentary. So it was sort of 3 layers on top of each other.
I forgot my cell phone. You want to run back and get it?
But I've usually had to read for the sidekick parts in my career because there aren't too many opportunities for guys who look like me, or there's not that much of a willingness for people to be open-minded with casting. So I didn't think the movie was really going to get made, and then when I found out it was getting financed, I really wanted that part. So I went out, I went after it really aggressively. Something like 2 months of 9 auditions, this huge long process to get the part. And fortunately, I was able to get the part, and it was an incredible experience working on that.
Last question for you. Lots of actors love to talk about their craft and the genius that they have. What, if any, insecurities or weaknesses do you have as an actor, and how do you overcome them?
That's a great question. I'm not good at getting recognized, because it's so new for me. I mean, I started out in theater, and doing plays, and I love storytelling, which is why I got into film and theater to begin with. So it's really weird when people meet you on the street, they think they already know you because they've seen a movie like Van Wilder or a movie like Harold and Kumar. And when you're not like that in real life, it's weird because you've never met the other person, but they've spent at least 2 hours, if not 4, 6, 8 hours, depending on how many times they've seen your work. So they feel like they've spent like 8, 10 hours with you, but you've never met them before. So it's a weird, you know, I forget that I'm an actor. I get up and I go down the street to grab a coffee or something, and somebody will yell my name out, and I'll look at them and be like, how do I know you? And then I'll remember that I'm an actor, and that's why they're coming up to me. So that's still awkward for me right now.
You gonna shoot anything in Philly?
I hope so. It's a beautiful city to shoot in. I just shot a movie in New York called The Namesake that comes out in March.
And what's that about?
It's kind of like The Catcher in the Rye meets The Notebook, sort of. It's a very emotional story about a kid, kid growing up and the things that he deals with. And I'm on the new season of 24 for some episodes, so that's also a drama. I like comedy. I think, just sort of worked out that I started that way, but the goal is to balance it out, comedy and drama both. I feel like I've been very fortunate, definitely, and a lot of the movies, especially Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, really took off because the fans supported it. It didn't do that well in the theaters because the marketing campaign was really flawed, I think. But it really did well on DVD and video because people were just passing it around, and it's people from all different backgrounds. It's the frat boys in the Midwest, it's people in the inner cities, it's brown, white, black, red, yellow, whatever. It's really cool to interact with the people who supported the film, especially because it really was grassroots support in the DVD. So I would just like to thank them for giving me the opportunity to do what I love.